I'm here. It's February 7th, 2021, and this is my new sun day. I sense that things are moving incredibly fast. Just, it's like that. I totally get now. When the messages first started saying, find the inner markers, anchor yourself, tether yourself into soul, tether yourself to these higher dimensions, because you're going to need to integrate this in order to stay balanced. And it's really turned out to be very true. And what I'm saying now is it's continuing. This is still happening, and we're still accelerating. And, but I don't know what value that data has for others. I just know that I feel it, and it affects my life. And part of the dialogue process is to speak out loud what I'm feeling. So this is what I'm doing. What I'm feeling, what I'm sensing. Just a memory came in of the mother showing me, and I'm translating at the same time, that these pieces of ourselves are sent away because they don't fit here and they're not welcome here. So they start getting flung off, and I remember the message saying that the mother has taken care of these aspects of yourself in the earth. The earth herself has been holding these rejected aspects of ourselves, and that in order to grow and expand beyond these limitations, to evolve or to remember who we actually are, which is an evolution, but as they say so often, it is simply restoring our natural state, and then evolution and growth can occur. Because the outer world orientation, those who subscribe to evolving humanity out there involves technologies that change our consciousness. And so if they have said so often, if we are not connected to that which is the truth about who we are, if we are not remembering who we are and restoring the soul technologies, if we are not embodying this, then the outer world trajectory goes to, applying these technologies, these consciousness changing technologies, to a human who does not know who they are. They do not. They're unaware of the truth of who they are and how they were designed. And so they, being unconscious of that, they willingly submit because they want to have this cool new technology because they don't know who they are. And that is what goes in a completely new trajectory, evolutionary trajectory. So the resonance vibrates. The trauma, the disconnect, it breaks it apart, and it helps us to feel that which we have suppressed. And it's not comfortable. But if you are in a community that is doing this and speaks about it and speaks about their own, relationship with the healing, with their body instrument, then it's obviously much easier, I should say, than doing it by yourself, which is what these otherworldly beings or non-human intelligence did for me. And I imagine that's because there wasn't anyone here to speak of these things or help me with this. So they helped me with it so that I could share it with you. And, however that lands with a listener, if I share this, it's okay. I'm not attached to being right in your world, in your worldview. I'm only responsible for being in balance and harmony with these higher frequencies that inform me. And this is what the invitation is through me, is it's important that you learn this language. If you want to restore your soul, inner knowing technology. And in order for the instrument to work properly, the way in which it was designed, it needs to be as clear as possible. It can't have unconscious blockages that prevent the instrument from humming and harmonizing. And so this dialoguing process, this dialoguing tool that they gave to me and I've been practicing, it begins with learning the resonance and the language and your emotions that are attached to what is unconscious, so that it can be brought into the light and felt, and whatever message is there to receive from vibrating that which has been hidden or buried, bringing that up to the surface and out, and lucidly feeling it and looking at it. It will dissipate, it will release. It doesn't have any power over you unless you resist it and continue to hide from it. Then it has a great deal of power over you. In fact, that is what other kinds of consciousness take advantage of. Humanity's unconscious, willingly unconscious states. And will is the operative word here. We are the ones that have to turn this around. And that is the key point, I feel, for my life and my life of contact with other dimensions of consciousness, ones that I had to get over my own fear. I had to transcend my own fear in order to stop the pain. I couldn't run from it anymore. And this was the gift, was to have these experiences so that I would have to face my fears repeatedly. And then once I shifted in my own consciousness and I welcomed the process and I engaged with it, that was the point where I didn't know it then, but I understand it now. in hindsight over the course of my life is that was the moment where I used my will to say, I don't really know how this all works. All I know is that when I allow myself to feel these things and see these things, there's a gift within it. And once it releases, it dissipates. And we're talking deep stuff here. We're not necessarily talking about, our father beating us when we were a kid, or, our mother being an alcoholic, or, that, of course, that all is in, layers of that trauma and wounding. But there's also ancient trauma and wounding that, don't necessarily have, a convenient story, to put it into and characters. This is really deep, energetic misunderstandings. Let's put it that way. And in order to get to that level, we must be engaged with our own consciousness. We must be engaged with our emotions, our feelings. This is what I was taught. And it wasn't like, okay, lesson number 14. Good for you. You passed. You're now on level 14. It is nonlinear. It is engaging with the unknown within ourselves, within our bodies, within our consciousness. And that willingness to engage with it, to uncover, to unravel the gifts that wait within, to activate our physicality, to activate and restore our original design and technologies within. Now, I don't know how to explain all of this like others might who study it more from the outer world perspective. All I know is my own life and my own experience. And when I noticed this shift from outer to inner, and then how many years that took me to, to be aware that I was, I'm not perceiving this or understanding this from within. I just jumped to the outer world perspective, what we were conditioned within. So it isn't any small feat. But I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I don't know anything out there. I really don't. I just, I've always felt disconnected from data out in the world. Terrible time in school because I couldn't retain data. I could do it. It took a while to orient to that so that I could memorize to pass tests and whatnot. But and I had to use my extra senses in a variety of ways in order to orient to the classroom. But what I'm trying to say is I don't know anything but what resonates within me with this inner technology. And that's what I've been translating in my own way and sharing with you. But I want you to know that because I didn't go to college in as many years as others in higher education, and I didn't have exposure to a lot in this world. So I wanted to go to school, but every time I tried, I was blocked. It was like, no, it just wouldn't let me. And I did, for a few years, but that was a struggle. So, what they've shown me is that I have this innocence, so that I can connect without challenging it as much as others who were informed from the outer world and were told, this is what is sane and this is what is insane. And, you must follow this and you must follow that. And, we don't need to go down that path of all the programming that we've received and the conditioning. So I was receptive. And I'm a singer and I'm a musician. So this resonance, it was always, I always felt it as music. And so for me, it was relating with songs and harmonizing with what was coming to me. This intelligence also has never said, we are the blah blah beings from blah blah planet. It's never ever come through in that way. It's always been, we don't have names. I mean, this is a group collective. We're communing through the field. Yet I can feel, over the years, I could feel different kinds of voices and personalities, and even translated into dialect, or there's even, an Irish kind of a lilt sometimes, if you listen to some of the past messages. It hasn't been focused on personality. It's focused on the data itself. And sometimes I've wondered if I'm just downloading, because it's always been a lot of downloading. And if I'm just bringing through what I've downloaded from the field and from these visitations, and that it's in me. And, so it's like these little packages I'm finding as I rise to meet this level of resonance with the field, I'm like gathering these little packets of data that were left there for me, little notes, or for anyone who rises to meet this, because again, it's never been, my name is Dorvo from planet Bleep Boop. And I'm not criticizing or, I'm not judging how others receive information. I feel it's so important for me to articulate this, that this is about consciousness rising to meet the frequencies where the data is. And it's not a mental process. It's not done through thinking. It's a whole other way of being that only feels unnatural to us because we haven't been using this technology. But it is our natural state. I don't know if you can hear the snow geese flying over. I get really excited about this because, literally it has taken me many years to even be able to speak with this level of, authority about it, because I dedicated my life, apparently, to orienting to this. this isn't, even though the words have always come through when I make the connection, kasha or kash, which I was like, wait, am I accessing the Akashic records? So then I go back to what I know and, from the outer world and how other people see it. And then I go, well, I know that word is coming out of my mouth, and it does feel like I'm accessing a lot of data, but it's not data about a history or, stories and characters, and then this happened and that happened in the past, and here's what's going to happen in the future. There is a little bit of the future view, but basically that just boils down to, if you choose love and you choose to heal and rise to meet through resonance a whole lot more information than you're getting now, then that's one choice. And the other choice is to keep pretending that this reality, this contracted, limited reality, where we have denied soul, we have denied the feminine, denied the mother, denied these key aspects of our consciousness, that's going to go in another direction. That's basically what I see and can perceive and share data around. But mostly, I feel that I was contacted to teach me the language of resonance, how that works, what that feels like, and to help people orient to it. The biggest problem I've had in sharing this when I've started to, in the old paradigm, was that as long as the world was working for people, and they had their comforts, and, if something bad happened, then it's like, well, that's just life, God works in mysterious ways, and, all that stuff that helps fill in those uncomfortable spaces. As long as people were comfortable, then there was little to no interest in communing, in working with feelings and resonance, transforming unconscious emotions to conscious feelings, where we can flip this switch within us with these technologies to commune. So if all is well in your world, you're not going to have much interest in this, because there is some discomfort. There is some, being pushed out of your comfort zone in order to grow. And since we've had this derailment with what some have referred to as a COVID pandemic, however it's been framed, and whatever frame works for you or that you detest, it is simply a neutral event. And of course, if you become fearful and argumentative and you want to fight over what all of this means, then you are generating the energy or the food for those who are happy that you do so and are busy working on the direction they want to take human consciousness. I don't see them as the bad guys, and that, the angels are the good guys. And no, it doesn't work like that. It's, what do you prefer? And until things, sadly, until things become uncomfortable and confusing and your life doesn't work anymore the way it was, you're not going to come to a place where you have an opportunity to choose differently. So that is the gift of these times. You've been derailed. And in that derailment, you have new choices. So when one chooses to contract and chooses fear over love, then you are keeping yourself from your greatest fear, which is of that love and of that vibration that will bring up that which you have ignored, that which you have covered over consistently because this world allowed you to do that. But you can choose love. You can choose differently than the polarized path. And there isn't a good guy and a bad guy. There's just choices. And if you don't know who you are, and you do not have access to your own inner technologies, then the plan is that you will become that technology for this next cycle or this trajectory of evolution. It's just a choice. And what I learned through this engagement with this higher vibrational consciousness that kept pestering me, visiting me, sending me into alternate states of consciousness, disrupting my worldview repeatedly, destroying my worldview several times, then I was able to at least begin to see the light. And when I say seeing the light, I am referring to seeing, feeling, knowing. This is the inner soul technologies when you begin to bring more of yourself into the body. Then you get to start practicing this and navigating life, practicing this new ancient technology within you. And what they shared many years ago when they started planting these seeds within me, which I did not understand at the time, and no one else that I, had groups with back in Santa Fe, I can't say anyone really, grokked it there either. It's a timeless, these are timeless messages. It's like telling us you're going to remember who you are. You're going to have an opportunity to remember who you are. And if you engage with it, then you will practice it by yourself first so you can strengthen it, and then you can practice it in community. And they, through the messages I translated, other things like, and then you'll watch this acceleration just like go at blinding speed as more and more human beings remember their connection in this way and remember and uncover the gifts within. So it's my understanding now that it's time for me to be bold and to step into this work, even though communication has been very, very challenging, because I have all these years been trying to share these messages and these ideas / feelings about who we are from a language that I was finding. This is the reversal. This is the shift. This is when you go from outer to inner. It doesn't mean that your world out there ends. It's that once you harmonize with yourself, your own body, and you ignite that instrument that you are, then you start to harmonize with the more of who you are, and, call it, the angels, or call it source, father, mother, creators, I use a variety of labels because I have to use words to communicate this. I have to translate it. Then when that is solid, or it feels, in your practice that you've made this alignment, and you will know because your body will tell you so, then you can, it's like that's the vertical light. And this is what they showed me back in the 90s in a visitation. And then once that is hooked in again, you're hooked up with the universe to a degree where you're resonating and holding this resonance, then that horizontal light goes out and you begin to be this in your communities, in your everyday life. And that is how we align with the earth and the heavens. And then with that spine restored, we are able to commune with each other and to change and transform this reality to mirror our state of consciousness, to match our resonant level of consciousness and awareness. And that's when we are lifted, if you will, into a greater reality, a higher vibrational, higher dimensional reality. And so you see, it all goes back to that moment of choosing, of using your will to say, yes, this is the direction I'm going. I'm willing to commit to this. Otherwise, you stay in the outer world orientation. You stay in and not even realize it, that you're just living life as it was given to you, rather than what can live and be and ignite through you, thereby transforming the outer world. And then the next kind of phase, just looking a little bit ahead with this process, is then you start to understand how resonance works with the outer world. And this is where synchronicities come in. It's like you're being who you are. You're resonating with your higher dimensional aspects of self. You're embodying this. So it's like persons, places, and things in form in the physical world matter. You'll find the resonance with that which you need to serve your joy, your passion, and your intentions. So this is why it's so important, this know thyself. If you don't know thyself, you're just going to keep creating from the level of not knowing who you are and what you're connected to. And that is what you see in the world right now. So we can look at that outer world and say, whoa, I do not prefer this. And we can start arguing with each other and fighting over which is the right way, which is the right political party, which is the right religion, which is the wrong one. And that will just simply take you down, looping again in these smaller realities until you reach the place in your consciousness where you say, okay, I've had enough. I know that there's more, and I am committed to discovering this and unraveling this. So see, it always boils down to us. There is nothing that is going to happen to you to take you into these higher dimensions without you first engaging with it. Now, it might seem through my story, through contact, that isn't true. But in fact, what I shared earlier is there was a moment where I was given that choice. Are you going to engage with this? Are you going to use your will to dialogue with this and understand it? Or are you going to run from it? And, and call it names and build a story of it's evil, or, it's it's, and then go into all the stories and characters that exist in the data in the world and build from that. Or you can go within and you can say, I want to shift this. I want to change this. I want to reorient to the truth. And that is basically the unknown. And that is, it is a challenge to face our fear of the unknown, because we have been programmed for centuries, and our ancestors have all been programmed in their own ways to orient to a reality that is not representative of their full potential, of their, abilities, their full technologies that are available. These are things that I couldn't really talk about or explain properly in the old paradigm. Now that, we're in this liminal in-between space and beginning to solidify, and practice these inner technologies to restore our own vertical connection between the heart of heaven and the heart of earth, and then begin practicing this, laterally, horizontally with each other. This is where we are now. And I find that I'm able to speak more confidently about it because we continue to watch the destruction phase of the old paradigm, the old world. So again, it's important to be tethered to that which is real, that which is true. And you don't understand what's real and true until you allow the healing of all that blocks that natural vibration, all the pieces of yourself that you were told didn't have value and didn't belong here. Get with the program, right? Those programs have no power over you at all if you choose to be a sovereign being and to restore that sovereignty, to restore that divine connection. So again, it is the feminine technology, it's the soul technology, it's that which has been suppressed in this world that we were all born into. And if we restore this within ourselves, we change our world. And this can happen very quickly. Even though it took me a lifetime in the old dense paradigm to get this, to understand this, it is all coming together very rapidly for me. And I'm being strengthened now to speak of these things. It's important that you know that we each have our own gifts to contribute at this time. We have to, use our will to begin to transform so we can unlock these gifts and share our piece of the puzzle. You see, I don't know everything there is to know, even, in the inner technology way. I'm not like an oracle, voice that predicts the future or, knows all the different beings that reside in the universe. And, I don't get that information. That comes through other people, and that's their passion. That's their piece of the puzzle. See, this is the exciting part about this time is it's like Christmas time, right? In so many different ways. It's like we get to find the gift that we came to unravel and then to share our gifts in our communities. And it doesn't matter, there's no comparisons. There's no like, well, I want their gifts. I want their, like it's a shiny new car. Why are my gifts just this, old beat up VW? What you'll feel when you realize and it comes into, greater focus and you feel it in your body, it manifests as passion and excitement. And you love your gift. And it's the greatest gift you could even imagine sharing with other people because it's who you are. It's not something you were told you had to go to school to learn about and to be and contribute to this, machine. Systems that were designed to operate in a certain bandwidth of frequency. And you're capable of so much more. And your gifts are they go deep and they go wide. And it's time to unravel that. It's time to open to these new possibilities or not. And that's the beauty of it. There's no right or wrong here. It's, what are you drawn to? What do you feel? What do you want for your future? Or are you waiting for someone to tell you what your future is? Because you're in the in-between right now. You get to choose. And right now, what you're hearing is my absolute joy. I love doing this. I love that I can finally find not the perfect words to explain this shift, but better words or I don't know. I feel like I'm owning it more. I'm saying, you know what? Those beings that visited me and told me and informed me and communed with me and still do, they were right. They are right. It's true. And it's been demonstrated in my life repeatedly. And so I want at this time to share my piece of the puzzle with you. And my piece of the puzzle is, how do you connect to higher dimensional realities, higher dimensional aspects of self? How to bring this home into your bodies? What are the markers? What will you feel as you go along the path? And I don't state that I have all the answers, but I have my direct experiences. So I can, I've walked my path and I have found this and that along the way. And when you get to this part of the path, hey, heads up, this might happen. Or not. Maybe it won't happen for you. It's just that when someone has been an explorer and they have traversed these landscapes, it doesn't mean that when you head out to be the explorer that you're going to walk the same exact path and see the exact same things. But generally speaking, it would be wise to speak to those. And there are many, I am informed and shown on the planet. Speak to those who are walking this path who have not necessarily been public about it. Because they have great value now to support and assist you in, anchoring into these new landscapes, anchoring into a greater dimensional earth. And I want to remind you that this is a very exciting time. your world, your media, social media, they're telling you that, it's time to fight and argue and even in some cases violence, because we're going to take a stand, and I've spoken of this before. You can take a stand in the old world, on the old earth. But that just plants you, roots you into the agreement that you are of that vibration, and you will stay in that, continue in that smaller spectrum of consciousness. It's not a judgment. It just is. And you can expand your consciousness now. You can, through that expansion, uncover the gifts at your core and unlock the resonance, unlock the ability to begin to harmonize with higher aspects of you, to harmonize with your source, your original source, not the source character you were given in the outer world narratives, the source that resides within, and that is the greatest gift within that will unlock you and show you the way forward, show you that you are made of light, you are made of love. I'm excited for all of us. I'm excited for the earth and the natural world. I'm excited that many of us will awaken to this, and we will shift into a resonant earth, a resonant life, resonant with our Creator and each other. And this is when we get to discover that this was our original design, our natural state. And imagine the joy of that. I want you to know that this is my absolute joy. I hope you can feel it. Because I'd like for this music to reach you through feeling, through your heart, through the cells of your body, so that you can begin to remember on levels that you had forgotten or had suppressed. All the data that you need is within you. I'm here to tell you that it is true and it is actual. All my love to you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Hey Om Ja Hey Ya Hey O Hey Om Dum Jam Jim Dum Dum Je Hey Om Jam Je Hey Om Jam Je Hey Om Jam Je Hey Om Jam Je Ishu Samdo Shia Hondara Heya Anja Horeya 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 Yam Santa He Osham Da De Vunda Ja De Han Dam Ka He Za Ze Hum Ja He She Ha He Hum Da Ho Hosha Ha Ne He Ne Mona Ha She Ha Na Ha Hoshi Ha Ha Hum Ho He Ha Ha Hey Ya Ya